recently released movies, ridiculously hot foods, Blazin Buttholes next morning.
Hi guys, welcome back to Blazin Buttholes. We are reviewing the movie Rampage.
Rampage.
It was a movie called Rampage.
With Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
And other people that were mediocre actors.
Well, I think, yeah.
Yeah, Naomi Harris, she was like kind of the co-star, I guess. She was like The Rock's buddy, but wasn't until the end. Yeah. So there's that. And then we had that super annoying bad guy, Jake Lee or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the girl that was also in Watchmen with the comedian who's also in this. Negan is in this movie. So that's cool. We had two people from the Watchmen in this movie. So things happen.
What's the director's name?
Oh, the director's name is Brad Payton.
Brad Payton, who also was the director of San Andreas.
Yep. Journey to the Earth 2, Journey to the Center of the Earth 2, The Mysterious Island.
The Rock
With both which all have The Rock in them, so he likes The Rock.
Yeah.
He's directed a lot of different things though. He's been directing for like 17 years. He's done some claymation work.
But I
He's
think
in kids movies.
What we can say is if you've seen San Andreas, Journey to the Middle of the Earth, and you've watched Rampage, because it's a forget about movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities in acting and style of directing between those three movies that are pretty on par with each other. I wouldn't be surprised if like San Andreas and Rampage both get the same scores after like a week or two. I think Rampage is a better movie than San Andreas, like by quite a bit. Because San Andreas, I didn't like San Andreas at all. But we're also going to be we're going to suffer with this movie with these. What did you get for us?
They are ghost pepper chips. They are by the same brand that makes the death chip. The one single coffin chip. I couldn't afford that.
And these are hotter, I guess.
Yeah. And then also, what were the dips?
Just Rotel and Velveeta, and then salsa verde and Velveeta.
Yeah, so we got chips and dip. For the spice, here we go. Let's start eating some of these things, and then we'll get more in depth about it.
Chips
ahoy!
Chip me.
I have beans on my side.
There's no bean.
What is that?
It's just salsa verde.
Oh, okay.
Salsa verde.
I snuck one of these before we started filming, and it took my breath away.
Those are good.
Yeah, they are. Those are super good, especially with the dip. Ghost pepper. Haunted ghost pepper chips. Holler at your boy. All right.
So starting off,
Spoiler free. First half. Yay.
This movie is basically based off of the 1986 video game Rampage. And you smash buildings. And that's the whole point of the game is you could play with friends. Whoever gets the most points wins. And you get shot at by military, helicopters, get bombs dropped on you.
Oh.
All of it. And that's basically what they built this movie off of.
When you finally get like all your health down, you shrink back down to a person. And I like how it wasn't people. It was just animals that ended up getting, this genetic mutation thing that they were experimenting with. Not much to go on. That game really didn't have much of a story. It was just destroy things.
That's okay though, because I had so much fun with that game as a kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, watching the movie made me want to play Rampage, the game. I'll say that, like, when we got out of the movie, I was like, I wonder if Rampage is on Steam. So it'd only be like a couple of bucks.
Yeah, this movie is definitely based off of the very first Rampage. Because I don't think any of the Rampages that followed it for Super Nintendo, for N64, had the rat in it.
Mm-hmm. That was
So-
cool. They didn't spoil that in the trailers. I felt like everything was spoiled in the trailers, besides the very opening scene. So that was nice that we didn't get that giveaway in the trailers. I don't know, man. Like, if you watch all three of the trailers, you basically watch the movie. It's kind of too bad.
Yeah, and so The Rock plays a character in this. I think the characters, the humans, were a lot more of the video game than the actual animals were.
Yeah.
Because the Rock comes into situations that he should have died in
So many times.
too many times. You know, he goes through the normal stuff that you see in an action movie of a main character, but double that. And there's no way that he should have even had the opportunity to walk halfway through the movie.
Yeah, it was. The movie was pretty overblown as far as The Rock goes.
And the way that they introduce why the animals are running rampant and coming into the city and everything, why they're just rampaging.
Yeah.
They don't rampage against each other.
That was weird.
Yeah, I liked all of that aspect of it on how how they became the monsters and things like that, and then and the plot, how they get them all to converge in on the city because they're all over different places. Like Liz is in Florida, Ralph is in Wyoming, and then it was the San Diego. So they did a good way of explaining how we're gonna get all of them together in one place. Well, I don't know. Greg Drew said, I was like, what? Seems like a hole. You know, they're getting them to all go to a place by using something. They're all freaking out and they're all in pain, but they don't do anything to each other. I don't know, that was weird. I mean, the action scenes, I liked most of the action scenes. Most of the action scenes were pretty good. The animal fights, I felt like the animal fights were really good if you subtract the human factor to them.
Mm-hmm. The humans were the
them
fault of
fighting
this
the-
movie.
Yeah, them fighting the military and stuff. They did a pretty good job with that. I remember there was a bunch of scenes where I was like, "Oh, cool! That was dope." Almost everything Ralph did, I liked. Ralph was my favorite monster.
The wolf?
Yeah, the wolf.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything the wolf did was pretty cool. And as cheesy as I thought the whole, of course the wolf flies. You know, I was like, oh man, every part where he was flying, I was like, that looked badass. That was super cool. And besides, he flies in the game anyway. That's the thing when you're Ralph. Ralph it's like a flying squirrel looking kind of thing in the game. That's what I remember anyway. It had cool stuff.
No.
Can't do it.
You can't do it. It hurts so bad.
So, what do you? Can you talk? All right, a little
Now I
bit.
can talk. My tongue
Nice.
is
What
on
do you got?
fire.
What do you got for us for
I don't
Rampage?
know. I felt like
It's non-spoiler Rampage.
I think it was kind of rushed through. To be perfectly honest, I feel like they should have explained a little bit more about the thing that fell and it just sprayed into the animals' faces and then they turn into these giant. I just feel like that part was completely rushed through. I feel like that should have been explained a little bit better. And I don't I think it's just an action movie with animals. There was no story-ish to it, if you really think about it. Very little anything. It was boring.
That's rough. It's a rough review.
That was a rough review.
I thought
I think the story was The Rock and George. That was the movie.
yeah, then they should have focused on that a little bit more. Maybe did a little bit more back. So, the alligator, honestly, there was, zero anything about that other than it pops into the city. And that's it. They show it fall into the water, and that's it.
She just summed up the entire movie.
That's
Look
all.
at that.
I just...
The amount that she just told you is the amount that you care about that movie.
it
Or
was,
should care about the movie.
you want to see animals get big and fight each other, go waste $12.50. That's how I felt about that movie. I thought it sucked.
There was no human interaction that was good. There was no...
The human acting was awful.
The only interaction that made that entire movie, which was something we talked about in our weekly trending,
Yeah.
that I was hoping would make or break the movie, was the best part of the movie.
Yeah, no,
But
that
it didn't
was.
make or break the movie. And that is the interaction between George and The Rock.
That was the only good part.
There were some parts in there that made me crack up. Like,
Well, yeah.
this is the most ridiculous
Yeah.
thing that I was like, yep.
Yeah, I know, that's so funny too, because we really, really wanted The Rock and George to have like a really good relationship, and that was going to depend on whether we liked this movie or not. And they did have a really good relationship. It was super funny, and we still don't really like this movie. I was like, no.
I don't think it was focused on enough. It was like a
So-
little bit, and then mayhem, and then the last 5 minutes at the end, there was no like
And-
story of how it developed, like that, anything. Like that was all missing.
The basic thing that I don't like about the movie is one, the entire premise of the movie is based off of split decisions from The Rock, where Naomi's like, "Hey Rock, what are we gonna do?" And he's like, let's get in the helicopter."
With no tail.
And then it works out, and then The Rock lives, and that happens
A lot.
a lot. And that's
Yeah.
the basic premise of how they survive through the movie.
And I'm wondering if Rampage is a smart enough movie to know it's dumb. You know, like, I'm wondering if that was done on... That had to
I
have been
think
done
what they
done on
did
purpose.
I think what they wanted was for us to not take it seriously.
See, yeah, I think so too. I think they were like, it's based on a video game from the 80s, about big genetically altered people, and they're gonna go into a movie, and it's just, I don't know, the guy that's directed this, he directed Incarnate. And Evelyn,
Never seen
the
it.
Prettiest Little Devil, or something like that. And
Never
like, those
seen
are
it.
crazy good movies. I haven't
Sounds
seen
like
it.
garbage.
Incarnate's really good, but like, man, I don't know. There's a lot of he directed Cats vs. Dogs and stuff like that. So
Remind me never to watch any of his
I don't know.
movies.
yeah, I don't know. Are we missing anything? I feel like there's not much to talk
No.
about with it. So how would you rate this movie here, Drew? On a scale of 1 to 5, our normal go out and buy it the first week it comes out, watch it 5 times. You're glad you saw it in theaters. Or
5 is best, 1 is worst.
Yeah.
It's a 1.
And you were upset you went to go see it in the theater?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was... I think movies have been worse
Yeah.
that I went to the theater for. The only thing that I liked that I spent $10 on was George and The Rock. Dialogue between them two
Yeah,
was
it
the
was
best
super good between
part of
them.
the whole movie.
Yep. What do you think?
Oh well, I would want my money back. I hated it. Thought it was awful. I did. I would honestly, if I could go back in time, only make it 30 minutes through and go to the front and get my money back. 1.
Man, you guys are harsh. I'd give it a 2 out of 5. I am upset that I saw it in theaters, so I can't give it a 3. I'm gonna give it a 2.
Yeah.
Like
I'm like in between a 1 or 2, but
Like I would
leaning more towards
definitely,
the 1.
I definitely wouldn't say don't touch this movie. Stay as far away from it as you can. I would say if it jumps up on Netflix or if it's on like TNT or something on TV, give it a watch. I mean, I'm not upset I saw it. I'm upset that I spent money to go see it in the theater though. I was really hoping it would be a really good theater movie, but it just suffered from that. The volume's too loud. Everything's all raw, and it doesn't need to be that way. And I mean, they had a lot of jump scares in the beginning. Yeah, she jumped like 15, 20 times, I want to
Because
say.
it was loud as
But
hell.
a lot of that was due because it was so loud, and I that always annoys me when they do that. So yeah, that's our scores. We got a 1, a 1, and a 2. Definitely stay away from it in the theater, I would say.
yeah.
Unless it's at like a value theater, we paid $1.50.
And it just depends. We might be sour apples. You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
So far the Rotten Tomatoes is giving it 50%, and the IMDb is giving it a 6.1 out of 10. So they're giving it mediocre scores.
I feel like there's those diehard rock fans though.
Yeah.
That just like the John Cena fan.
I don't
They
like
just
The
that
Rock
stuff.
in movies at all.
No. Oh, hit it! Spoilers.
They bring the rat in. very first scene of the movie, which was something I was
was
wondering.
cool.
I was like, hey, cool. I was wondering if they were going to bring the rat in, and sure enough, they did. Lasted
did.
about 5 minutes until space station exploded. The stuff they were working on in space was the things that make the animals big.
And that was weird to me. Was the space station in any of the trailers?
No.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? Why didn't, like, normally they just show, like, the first act in the trailers, and then give you little snippets of the third act in the trailers. But no, the whole first scene in space was super cool. That was, like, the best part of the movie, was the first 5 minutes. I like that a lot. I like the whole space scene, like, a lot. It reminded me of life.
They come down as meteors, and come to find out, the company that...
Well, they come down from the space station, and it looks like meteors. Because that's what I wasn't sure about a little bit with the first trailer, is if it was like organic material from like outer space. But they spoiled it in the later trailers and told you where it was coming from, unfortunately. But so all the science experiments from space, and then ends up falling back to Earth.
But they go all over the world. Well, mainly the United States, I think. Only the United States. 3 different animals get a hold of it. As soon as they're exposed to it, they kill a bunch of animals, except for Liz, the crocodile. And
just because we don't know, to be honest.
Yeah, they didn't show it.
Yeah.
Because she was underwater.
Can I say how this is one of those movies that I think its fault was everything happened at the exact moment that it was supposed to happen. And the best way to highlight that is like, one of the canisters fall. And it survives the whole returning to Earth's atmosphere and crashing into the Earth. But right when George touches it, it spits out the thing. I was like, all right. Like, really? He doesn't pick it up and toy with it or something?
The Liz one was the only one that made sense.
And then Liz just eats the thing.
That's the only one that makes sense.
Yeah, and then Ralph just goes up and it's already kind of leaking out a little bit. But, like... That doesn't make sense either, dude, because if something comes out and slams the earth and there's a pack of wolves, they're scattering. It's not just going to hit and they're going to run up to it, so it would hit and start leaking. It would take a while for them to run up. That's what I mean, just everything happens at the right exact time that it's supposed to happen. It's that way throughout the whole movie. To like almost a ridiculous like thing. Like especially with the helicopters and stuff. It's like alright. They have like the protection, like everything is just perfect. The thickest plot armor I've seen in a long time in a movie.
Unfortunately, we are a man down. The ghost ship's got somebody. The Rock has some newbies who he's taking to go see the gorillas and their interactions. Yeah. That's when we meet George. And that's the scene that everybody's seen on the trailer.
From the trailers.
And this is probably the best part of the movie for me, but after that interaction, the Rock starts talking to George and like telling him, "Hey, you got to make sure the other apes feel welcome. He's a newbie. His family got butchered by poachers too." And George is like, "All right," and Rock's like, "Pound it," and George is like.
Yeah, all the stuff with them were really good.
It was the best thing.
Yeah, the big fights with the monsters, those were all right. I thought I thought Liz was like kind of ridiculous though. They had Liz like scaling the buildings, climbing the buildings, and like going into the buildings and coming out of them. And she's huge. She's super big.
Way bigger than the other ones.
Yeah, like I just don't see how you could climb up a skyscraper when you're like at least 120 feet. It's like she was way bigger than what we thought from the trailers.
Yeah.
So, and then I don't know. It was
the middle of the movie is very forgettable.
Yeah.
It's very much a plot line of let's ask the Rock what to do. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
And then Rock makes a decision like right in the moment, and then that's what they go with, and then it succeeds. Like whenever George, they turn on this radio tower that basically sends out a sonar to all the animals to make them all come to Chicago. That's the only thing that they do to make all the animals come.
Which really didn't even make sense. Why do you want to bring them all to Chicago? That like made no sense at all. Like what? We're doing what? Like the only way you can kill these things is with the antidote.
Which they had. That's why they were bringing them.
Yeah. They sure weren't prepared to use them.
Mm-mm.
The only reason they had the antidotes was because The Rock and Naomi Harris went and got them. Like, what was your plan? Like, they had no plan throughout the whole movie. I was like, what? This
The bad guys in the movie?
The bad guys in the movie were horrible.
It was basically two people that didn't care if people were died. They were motivated by money. And the rest of the people that worked there were there for maybe 2 minutes.
How are they going to make money though? That's what I'm like. There's nothing you can do to make money off this.
Because they wanted to weaponize it.
Yeah, but it turned like how are you going to weaponize it? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, they were nowhere even close to weaponizing it in space. It made a little rat get all crazy and attack everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how? Like, you're not gonna. I don't know. Like, you'd want to keep it secret, and you'd want to try to go get it. Like, take care of the problem in secrecy, because if this gets out, it's going to destroy the company, and we're going to go to jail for genetic modification. Because in the very beginning, it said that was made illegal. And I was like, fuck, man, this makes, like, all their motivations, like, makes no sense at all, and they don't explain it at all. And they're annoying characters.
Yeah. It was bad. It was bad. And the bad guys ended up dying. I was really hoping The Rock would die.
And, I thought he was going to die for a second. I was like, oh my god, if The Rock dies in this, I might like this movie. Because they made it seem like he was going to, but, I knew he wasn't, you know what I mean? But I was like, I had that little bit of hope that, oh my god, they might kill a Rock, that'd be so cool. But I thought it was weird that George ate one of the bad guys. Like, none of the monsters eat anybody, and then all of a sudden George just picks up the girl and eats her. And I was like, what? Because that was a big thing in the game.
Mm-hmm.
God, they're bashing the buildings and they pick the people out and they eat the people. And it's not like how you gain a little bit of health, right?
Yep.
And it was weird. Like, the only scene that happened was like a scene that was very significant in the plot, where like he needed to eat her, and he just happens to be the one person in the whole movie that gets eaten.
She was wearing a red dress.
What?
And for any of you that played Rampage,
That's true.
There was a girl who would jump out of windows but wore a red dress. So it was worth like 10,000 points.
Yeah.
If you caught her on the way down.
That was a cool Easter egg. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, that's
And
pretty
another
nice.
Easter egg inside the bad guy's room. I don't know who all caught it, but they had an arcade of Rampage inside the office.
I missed that part. Oh, cool.
Why people motivated by money who want to destroy everything have a Rampage game in their office.
Makes a lot of sense.
It's kind of a dumb Easter egg, but whatever.
Yeah.
So they get through all this part. Everybody comes to Chicago. Military can't kill them. Bombs can't kill them, like grenades and stuff. Then all of a sudden, The Rock and George gets the antidote after they knock down the biggest building in the town in Chicago by eating the chick
With the red dress.
with the red dress, which I'm not really sure if they just put the antidote in her purse or if they actually injected her and then he ate her. I don't know.
Yeah, we were talking about that. It was really unclear if they hit her with the antidote first, or if they just like stuck it in her purse and kicked her out. George, so it was like,
Yeah.
and he eats her.
Either way,
But regardless, that's not really how
an injection.
medicine with a needle works. You can't just eat it and go into your digestive system and have it perform what it was intended to do.
Yeah. No realism in this movie. Which, if that's what they were going for, because it's a movie based off a video game,
Yeah.
they did a good job at making sure it was shitty.
Yeah, see, and I'm wondering if... Because I don't think that a director that has as many credits to his name in directing and also writing, he's written a lot too. I don't like it. Maintained being really dumb the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally everything about it was over the top and dumb.
And another thing, so The Rock is supposedly ex-Special Forces Army. He goes into a room with a colonel who is mustering up what to do with these animals. And he's calling him Colonel. What the
I didn't catch that.
The whole time he's like, Colonel, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Colonel, we should do this. Colonel, this is what I think is happening. Dude, you're ex-Special Forces. You're either calling him, what's up, man? Because you're ex-Special Forces. We don't use those kind of names. Or you're calling him Sir, because you know the respect that you're supposed to have. Or you're just The Rock in this director who's like, call him Colonel. He's a colonel. You gotta call him Colonel. Nobody calls a colonel Colonel. Nobody.
It's very true. Yeah, it's very true.
And if you do, you're not in the military. Like, you're ex-Special Forces. You definitely know what you're doing if you're ex-Special Forces.
It's really just Sergeant and LT.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you really don't. You're just not like Colonel. You call a colonel Sir.
That's it.
Yeah. The problem is okay, so with talking about if I can't figure out if this movie is smart enough to know it's dumb, it's not dumb enough. You know what I mean? Like, if it would have been like, and I say dumb, and I don't want to say dumb like stupid dumb, but if it maintained like really over the top and just cheesy, like more cheesy acting throughout the whole thing, I'm like, okay, you guys are just being goofy making a fun movie. I got it. But there was too much serious stuff that we're trying. There was too much stuff that they were trying to be serious with.
Yeah.
That was like,
and if you're trying to be serious, you did a really terrible job. Like, the interaction between humans whenever... Oh, man, I can't even think of one of the times right now.
Yeah.
But, you know, one of those scenarios where it's really supposed to hit the feels. You're just kind of sitting there like, all right, that just happened. What's next?
Yeah.
Like, there is no emotional draw to any part of the movie besides George and The Rock.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that I know that you guys gave it low scores and that I gave it a 2 is I can't stand when a movie doesn't know what kind of a movie it is. And in the very beginning, it was like a horror thriller, and then it was like, oh, it's a comedy and it's silly. And then in the woods, it was like an action suspense movie. And I was like, my God, how many types of genres are we going to hit on throughout this movie? Like, know what you are and do what you are. Don't try to be 5 different kinds of movies at once. And that's really what it was happening. I was like, oh my gosh, dude. Like, it's not staying consistent.
It's one of those movies you're going to watch and be like... If you watch the movie, just watch the beginning. Watch the scene where it's set up with George and The Rock and all this stuff coming down up to the point where they go into the forest and try to kill the wolf. Fast forward all the way to the end. Watch the part whenever George goes on The Rock's side to the very end, which is one fight scene, and you've watched the entire movie of the semi-good parts where you'll actually be happy watching it.
Yeah, those fight scenes kind of sucked.
Yeah, like... The Rock gets shot. He falls
so
down
far.
like 100-story building in a helicopter. Helicopter is like undamaged. They're not hurt. They get out of the helicopter.
Their whole reasoning behind it was hilarious. So they get in this helicopter and it's broken. It doesn't have a tail. And she's like, the helicopter doesn't have a tail. And he's like, we just have to use the rotors so that way we're just barely above the building as it crashes. That way we'll be okay. And I was like, no, a helicopter is going to be spinning uncontrollably without its tail. Like,
he pulls up at the last minute, and somehow it ends up under the building.
Yeah. And I love how he's like, they have all these military guys going after it, and he's the only one that noticed that Liz has these big frill-looking things. And behind them are like, I don't know if they're...
Gills.
I'm like, are those gills? Are those her ears? Because alligators don't have gills. Like, what's going on? Like, would you think it was gills? It seemed like gills to me. I was like, they're just hiding her ears? I don't get it. So, okay, let's go with gills. Even though she has a mouth, and the crocodiles or alligators don't breathe underwater. It seemed like gills to me, but it just doesn't make biological sense.
Well...
It's not supposed to,
So the
honestly. Yeah,
very
I mean,
end, like-
the freaking wolf flies. It's not supposed to make
No.
sense.
And the whole time, the military's trying to kill these guys. They're shooting, like, M203 grenade launchers at them. They're firing stuff at them. All of a sudden, The Rock gets his hands on an M203
And it works.
12-round grenade launcher, and it fucking works, man.
Yeah,
Like,
and
he's able to hit them.
That's it. He's the only guy that hits him and it works. It's like,
You know what it was? He was actually player one, so all the other people weren't able to use that weapon.
he he put his quarters in first.
Yeah. So he was actually able to do stuff.
Yeah.
And then he gets shot. Like,
And he's fine.
he jumps out of an airplane.
Super fine after he gets shot.
Yeah, he jumps out of an airplane as it's going down, puts a parachute on somebody else's back while the airplane's in a downdraft going towards the Earth. Like, saves him. And of course, the guy just happens to wake up right before he pulls his chute.
That was funny.
Uh,
When Jeffrey Dean Morgan woke up, and he was like, "Oh shit!" Because he was knocked out, and then he wakes up. He was knocked out of the plane, and then he wakes up in free fall. He was like, "Oh shit!" That was funny. But man, he bugged me. Jeffrey Dean Morgan character bugged me a lot.
really?
I didn't like it. Like, he was supposed to be a Texan, and like holding his Colt 1911 by his big old Texan belt buckle,
Actually didn't.
but did not have a Texan accent at all. Like, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, he's a typecast of a type
I
of
didn't mind
person.
him. I didn't mind his character.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He's good in like everything, but they got him because they wanted him. They didn't get him because he was good for the part. You know what I mean? Like, there was way better people, and that's how I felt about almost all these actors. Besides The Rock, I'm gonna give The Rock a pass on this. I liked him with him and George. I liked him a lot, dude.
Yeah,
like,
it
I
was
thought that was
great.
really, really good.
Good job, Rock.
But
But
yeah,
stop being in that dude's movies, whatever his face is.
yeah, don't
'Cause
be in
he's
these
ruining
movies
your
anymore.
career, dude.
Don't be in
Like-
these movies anymore.
If you want to be a good actor, go be a good actor somewhere. But
Yeah.
this dude is typecasting you into something that makes me hate your movies at all times. I'm pretty sure every movie that I hate, he probably directed it. I think I'm shifting blame now, so you might be off the hook.
I don't know what else to say. Don't see it in theaters. I don't.
I don't know. Rough. That was a rough movie. I wish The Rock would have died.
Yeah.
I wish they would have showed the ending, what they're going to do with George.
too.
Like, they just completely ended the movie whenever they're like, oh, we'll do something with him. That was the end of the movie. They're like, what are we going to do with George? We got to find a bigger place for him. Oh, we'll do something with him.
Well, as the movie was just super abruptly ended, I was like everybody. I'm telling you, out of the old theater was only half full, and probably only 7 people left. Everyone was like sitting down, like, there's more, right? Like, this isn't the end, right? And then finally the lights came up, and I was like, oh wow, this is the end. I really thought there was gonna be like a post scene where they're like,
Yeah.
George, look at your new home, and they're like,
What?
him and Rock are like goofing around or something.
No, dude, what I expected
wow.
is them to put him back in his home where he originally came from.
Yeah.
Where the albino gorillas were come from.
Yeah.
And him just, like, fucking poachers up. Like, that'd be his
Oh,
job.
dude,
He'd be like,
if him
"You know,
and Rock,
protector?"
yeah, if like him and Rock went back and like were like jacking up poachers, that'd be dope.
Yeah, dude, like
That'd
that'd
been
be
super
that'd
cool.
be just going back to his roots where he came from and being like the protector of the gorillas.
That would have been cool, but they didn't. That falls
They
in the
did
category of
nothing.
all the things that this movie didn't do.
Yep, that's it. So if you like this movie, go fuck yourself.
Unsubscribe.
Just go on. Don't take our word for it, but take our word for it. It's a shitty movie. Congratulations. We'll see you next time.
Bye. Ghost pepper chips.
All right, guys, that's it from us this week or this weekend. So don't forget to like.
Yep, hit that subscribe button.
And don't forget to turn on the notifications down below.
Ring that bell right there. And yeah, leave us a comment. Let us know how you thought this movie was. You know, if you holler it out, think we were wrong, that'd be cool. Let's see what parts you thought were really good that we might have missed. Maybe we forgot because our brains got numb from not enjoying it.
Yeah, and if you have any more suggestions for new movies coming out, we do have about 3 in the next couple months. That
Yeah.
we're planning on doing some Blazin Butts on. Or if you have some really hot, spicy food you think would be a good one for us to eat while we're doing our reviews,
Always down.
don't forget to leave a comment, and we'll see you next time.
Yep, don't forget about that $100 giveaway.
Oh.
1,000 subscribers, $100. Could be you if you don't hide your subscriptions.
Could be you.
Sup,
All right.
bitches?
Give me a clap, Sarah.